Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling maybe one of the biggest puzzles in F1 right now. It's all about engineering, pressure, and milliseconds.
Absolutely. We're looking at how one team, McLaren, can somehow hold the record for the fastest pit stop ever this season.
Yeah, that incredible 1.91 seconds. Mind-blowing.
Exactly. But at the same time, they were just plagued by these incredibly slow, really unreliable stops. It's a massive contradiction.
It really is. And it's costing them, isn't it? In F1, victory or, well, disaster, it often comes down to those tiny fractions of a second in the pits.
But for McLaren, that gap between success and failure seems huge right now and totally unpredictable.
Let's lay out some of the evidence because the numbers really don't lie here. It's been pretty stark since, what, the Dutch Grand Prix?
Yeah, Zandvoort, we saw Piastri with a 3.9-second stop, Norris at a 4.5 and even a 4.8.
Ouch. And those aren't even the worst, are they?
No. Italy was probably the big one. A crucial 5.87 seconds for Norris. That's an eternity.
An absolute killer in a race. And Singapore.
Piastri again, 5.25 seconds. Just painfully slow. You have to remember, anything near 4 seconds these days is considered, well, fundamentally broken almost.
Right. So this sets up the core question for this deep dive. What is going on? And the answer, or at least the official line, is kind of shocking.
It really is. Team principal Andrea Stella came out with a frankly stunning admission pretty much straight away.
Which was?
He basically said that whatever the root cause is, technically speaking, they cannot guarantee a 100% fix this year.
Wait, this year? They expect to carry this problem, this limitation, all the way to Abu Dhabi, the final race.
That's what he said, yes.
But they're in a massive fight. Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, Constructors' Championship points, huge money, prestige.
Yeah.
Are they really just saying, oh, well, we can't fix this critical thing? It sounds like throwing in the towel, almost.
It sounds drastic, I agree, but the diagnosis they've given suggests it's not just a minor tweak they need, it's something fundamental.
Okay, so what is it? What's the official reason?
According to Stella, the core problem lies deep within the actual hardware. Specifically, it's about the pit stop pistols, you know, the wheel guns and the wheel nuts, and crucially, the interaction between those two bits of kit.
So not just human error, although I'm sure that plays a part when things go wrong. It's the tools themselves.
That's the claim. Stella described it as the hardware configuration making the operation a bit more difficult than it should be.
A bit more difficult. That's quite the understatement when you're losing seconds per stop. What does that actually mean, technically? How does this super expensive equipment just fail?
Well, it points towards issues with precision, right? Maybe inconsistent torque, perhaps the sensor system that checks if the nut is tight is too sensitive, or maybe it gets confused if the mechanic doesn't hit the nut at the perfect angle, especially under pressure.
So the system can be perfect, hence the 1.91 record stop.
Exactly. That Monza record proves that when everything lines up absolutely flawlessly, the system is, well, flawless, world-beating even.
But it's got no margin for error. That tight tolerance, that difficulty Stella mentioned, means that as soon as you add the human factor, maybe a bit too much force, nerves.
Then it falls apart spectacularly. They know it's wrong, apparently, but the full redesign, the proper fix, that's being aimed for 2026.
2026. Wow. So this isn't a quick fix? No software patch, no simple part swap? It's a major re-engineering job.
Seems like it. Which brings us to these sort of competing theories that are floating around now.
Right. Theory 1 is the official line. The hardware is just too difficult, too temperamental.
And theory 2.
Theory 2 is that maybe, just maybe, Stella is being a protective boss. Blaming the tools takes the heat off the pit crew, doesn't it?
It does. If you say the fix is years away, it stops people asking why the mechanics keep messing up now when the pressure is immense. They're fighting for big results. Those nerves must be absolutely shredded.
It's easy to see why people might think that. I mean, look at Red Bull banging out sub-2-second stops pretty regularly. Why can't McLaren, with all their resources, is it really the gun, or is it the person holding the gun freezing because they know the gun is tricky?
That's the dilemma, isn't it? Hardware creating anxiety, anxiety leading to errors.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle. To really understand it, we probably need to break down how these pit stops actually work, the sheer coordination involved.
Yeah, let's get into the nuts and bolts literally. But just before we do, a quick reminder for everyone joining us here on Darker Zone. If you're finding this interesting, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps us keep making these deep dives for you.
Okay, so The pit stop itself, it's incredible when you watch it. You've got something like 20 people swarming the car.
It looks like chaos, but it's pure choreography, isn't it? A ballet that lasts less than 2 seconds when it goes right.
Totally. You've got key roles. The front and rear jack operators, absolutely critical for safety and timing. They lift the car, hold it steady, drop it precisely. Often backup standing by, too.
And then people just holding the car stable, right? Because when the wheels come off, even a tiny wobble could throw everything off.
Exactly. Then the wheel crew, the biggest team within the team. 3 people on each corner, 12 mechanics just for wheels.
One on the pistol, one to pull the old wheel off, one to slam the new one on. Amazing speed.
And then you might have others ready for, say, a front wing adjustment if needed.
Plus, there's that one really crucial person, often overlooked. The one with the manual override light.
Ah, yes, the final human check. They hold a secondary switch. If something looks wrong, they can override the automatic go signal, the ultimate safety net.
And that safety net is needed because the whole point is automation, speed. The car stops, mechanics go. Once all 4 wheels register as tight, the green signal.
Boom! The system sends an instant signal to the jacks. Jack operators hit their release lever, car drops, main light goes green, driver floors it.
No waving hands, no lollipop man anymore. It's all about shaving off milliseconds. But this brings us right back to that pistol mechanic and the hardware issue.
Because that mechanic has to switch the gun from loosen to tighten instantly and get the torque perfect.
And the signal for the car to drop, it's triggered as they pull the gun away, right? Not after a visual check.
Precisely. The system is designed for immediacy. There's usually a lever or button on the pistol itself. When the sensor confirms the nut is tight to the exact torque spec, pulling the pistol away actuates that switch, sends the green for that corner.
So if the hardware makes that connection difficult, as Stella said, if the sensor doesn't get that clean green reading immediately,
then the mechanic might pull the gun away too soon, thinking it's done. Or they have to wiggle it, try again, and suddenly you're losing tenths, whole seconds even. The drop signal gets all messed up.
And we saw exactly this play out in that disastrous 5.87 second stop in Monza, didn't we? That's like the case study for this whole problem.
Absolutely. McLaren broke that one down in detail. It was the front left wheel. The mechanic pulled the gun away.
But the nut wasn't actually tight.
Correct. Probably because of that tricky interaction, maybe a slight misalignment. And apparently the pistol was trying to warn him it was flashing red and green lights.
But he missed it. Or didn't trust it under pressure.
Either way, he missed it. It took another mechanic noticing the error and stepping in to get it properly seated. That hesitation cost 2, maybe 3 seconds, easily, while everyone else is just waiting for that final green light.
Wow, so that perfectly shows the problem. The hardware creates the difficulty, which puts immense pressure on the mechanic's perception and reaction time, basically forcing them to compensate for a tool that isn't helping them.
And when that compensation fails, even for a fraction of a second, the whole stop collapses.
Which leads us back to the big question. Why is this so hard to fix mid-season? Why is STELLA talking about 2026? It just seems crazy for an F1 team.
Well, it starts to make more sense when you think about F1 manufacturing and safety, especially for critical components. Redesigning the wheel nut profile, or the internal mechanics of the pistol, the torque sensor, the signaling mechanism, that's not trivial.
No, you can't just knock up a new design in the workshop, can you?
Not at all. Think about the process. First, nail down the exact flaw. Okay, maybe they've done that. Second, redesign it. But then comes the real bottleneck.
Sting and safety.
Exactly. These parts are under incredible stress. They have to be homologated, meet stringent safety standards. You can't just, 3D print a new nut design and hope for the best next race.
Because if that nut fails at 200 miles per hour,
it's catastrophic. Potentially fatal. So the redesign needs incredibly rigorous testing, simulation, physical tests. That takes months, not weeks.
And they rely on specialist suppliers too, right? Who have their own lead times and quality control.
Precisely. So find the flaw, redesign, get it certified, manufacture enough sets for both cars plus spares, test them exhaustively in the factory, and then ship them around the world for the remaining races.
Yeah, the calendar alone makes it a nightmare. USA, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Trying to introduce a fundamental component change during that flyaway sequence. Logistically, it sounds almost impossible.
There was a good comparison earlier this year, actually. Remember SAUBER's problems?
Oh, yeah, they had issues with their wheel nuts cross-threading at the start of the season, didn't they?
They did. A really similar kind of fundamental hardware design flaw. And how long did it take them to sort it out?
It took ages. Must have been, what, 5 or 6 races?
Yeah.
March until basically June.
Exactly. About 3 solid months from identifying the problem to having a reliable fix fully implemented across the board. So if McLaren really only pinpointed this properly after Zandvoort in late August,
Then getting a fully tested, safe, redesigned part ready before the end of the season? Yeah, it's looking unlikely. Stella's 2026 timeline suddenly sounds less like an excuse and more like grim reality.
brutally realistic perhaps, and the impact of carrying this known weakness, it just keeps mounting.
You can only imagine the nervousness. Not just for the pit crew waiting for the car, but for the driver pulling into the box, knowing that even if they nail their marks, the stop could still be ruined by the equipment.
And losing 2 or 3 seconds, it's just devastating. That's track position gone. That's the difference between challenging for a podium or getting stuck in the midfield traffic.
Every slow stop feels like a step backwards in that constructor's fight. They just can't afford to keep hemorrhaging time like this.
Okay, so let's try and sum up what we've unpacked here in this deep dive. It seems pretty clear McLaren has identified a genuine, deep-seated hardware issue.
Right. The pistols, the nuts, how they work together, it's fundamentally making consistent fast stops difficult. And it's serious enough that the real fix is a long-term project, aiming for 2026.
Which leaves them trying to manage the problem now. With practice, procedures, trying to support the mechanics as best they can. It's mitigation, not a solution. A high-wire act, really.
But even with the hardware being the official cause, that Monza example shows how it translates into human error under pressure. The mechanic missed the warning light.
Exactly. So whether you blame the tool or the user, the result is the same. They're stuck compensating for something they know is fragile. The focus shifts, almost entirely, to managing the human psychology of the pit crew.
And that's the really fascinating, kind of provocative thought to leave everyone with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The McLaren pit crew knows they can produce a 1.91 second stop. They have the world record.
But they also know that failure, a slow stop, is almost inevitable every few races because the tools themselves are working against them.
So what gives first? Does the difficult hardware finally cause one too many errors? Or do the nerves of the crew crack under the pressure of trying to be perfect with imperfect tools?
It's a real high-stakes, high-tech human drama playing out in the pit lane.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fascinating. If you enjoyed this look into the engineering and the human side of F1 speed, please do make sure you're subscribed right here to Dry Zone and hit that like button. It helps us a lot. We'll see you for the next deep dive.